When I teach bachelor architecture students, the thing that I struggle with the most is putting forward of this idea or concept that a floor surface is not necessarily needs to be flat or level at all given times of a project. And for some reason, even when they, and by they I mean the students, when they create this kind of a complex curved envelope, once it comes to interior development, the first instinct is always to cut the volume vertically into these kind of equal step size horizontal plates, thus creating fully horizontal flat floor plates, right? I find this strange because inherently nature is not flat, and the environments into which we step outside once we leave our houses, they are quite curved. So how do you persuade a student that a curving sloped floor could actually work? Well, you throw a reference at them, as per usual. And this is where Sanaa's Rolex Learning Center comes in. Built in Switzerland in 2010, it's part of EPFL, sorry about that, campus that challenges the concept of how a learning environment should look like. I have visited this building a few years ago and have fell in love with it. And not to say that the building does not have its drawbacks, surely it does, right? In this video, I'm going to try and to paint the full picture, the whole picture, and which is clearly going to be a subjective one. But you did click on a video series that are called Cool Buildings That I Like, so subjectivity is kind of baked into the concept now, isn't it? Looking at the Rolex Learning Center, you can immediately see these kind of three key features that make it into a unique building. So the first one being it's wavy, the wavy shape. Second one being the cheese holes that it has, very nice. And third one being the plan, how open the interior of the center actually is. There are not many walls there. Let's talk about the holes and the openness first. So two things come to mind: light and sound. With so many floating courtyards and interior that's mostly white and not a lot of inner walls, the interior is well filled with pleasant bounce light. And I indeed am a sucker for soft light. The issue though is the sound. While the light can freely bounce in the interior, so can the sound. And not just sound, smell too, actually. In the learning environment, it's pretty annoying to hear a conversation between, Becky and Deborah from 10 meters away, or smell a burrito wrap from a pop-up stand located on the opposite side of the building. Of course, I'm kind of exaggerating, but this has been a problem that I have observed when visiting this building. The question then is it a fair price to pay for the wonderful light that the building has? And honestly, I think it is. I think so. Maybe you might disagree. Okay, and now back to the floor. Any building that has landscape contour lines in its plan is a winner, is a definite winner in my book. This case is no different. This is the interior as if it was the sea. Think of it as a sea with a bunch of flat islands inside of it, right? Some islands shine light. Those are the cheese holes that I was referring to, or the floating courtyards, right? Others are flat. Those provide the option to place a standardized furniture or function inside of them. And some are enclosed, right? Those islands provide privacy from the rest of the world. The sea, it connects these islands and has no intention of being flat. And I think this is quite a beautiful concept to have. For those who are saying that this is not a sustainable building. The concept is not sustainable because not every square inch or square meter is used in the building in a functional sense. I'd like to note that this building, being one of a kind, creating unique spaces and experience, will stand for a much longer time than any generic learning center that is efficient in its planning but does not offer anything beyond it. Beautiful architecture that people want to protect is inherently more sustainable than ugly architecture that is efficient. Period. Anyway, back to the building. Let's go back to the building. The structure of the building is actually pretty interesting. So the center, the Rolex Learning Center, you can think of it as pancake, or rather two pancakes, one on top of the other, the heavy duty one and the lightweight one. The heavy duty one is pretty standard. You have the cast and side concrete, right? So you have false work that arrives from the factory, you assemble it on site, you put down the metal rods, you weld them together, of course, and then you cast concrete on top. Once that is done, you remove the false work, you have your shell, right? Nice, neat and dandy. And then on top, this was quite surprising for me, and I guess this is where Sanaa architects show their Japanese roots, is that you have a wooden structure, a wooden roof, with metal framing, of course, but still wooden nonetheless in between, which makes it super lightweight. So we have a full blast holding shell structure at the bottom and a very lightweight structure at the top. That is quite smart. Very nice thing. By the way, there is a whole scientific paper on ResearchGate, so you can, if you just Google for that, you'll find the engineering paper. That's a pretty interesting read as well. And coming back to architecture, just the fact that you can walk under this bottom shell, and this bottom shell that the building kind of lifts itself up to let you walk under it, that's just, I don't know, it's the cherry on top, right? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you like these kind of videos, please consider leaving a nice comment, subscribing, leaving a like, all of that jazz. The bell is also very important. It's just a way for me to know that these videos are kind of appreciated and that I should make more of them. If you really like these kind of videos, link in the video description. There's a Patreon where you can give me money, and I will use that money to buy a house in Japan that I will renovate, and I will put up the video of me renovating it, or series of videos, here on this channel. That's the long-term goal. Yep. I guess that's it. Now we're done. See ya. Bye.